everyone, and welcome to The Well-Educated Artist, or welcome back to The Well-Educated Artist if you've been here before. We're doing something a little bit different, even though it's still going to involve acrylic skins. So if you love to find ways to use your acrylic skins, then this is the channel for you. Check out all of my videos about how to use those acrylic skins left over from pour painting, or if you want to make them. I have videos on how to make them if you are not a pour painter or a fluid artist. Now you can see something that I have right here. This is an art bowl. I have been experimenting with acrylic skins and resin and making sculptural bowls. And this is my first attempt. And today we are going to try another attempt at making acrylic skin bowls in resin. So if you are a resin artist, welcome to the channel, because this is going to be right up your alley. And here you can see the one that I made. It's a little wonky, but interesting. I used an acrylic skin. This is an entire acrylic skin here, and glitter in my resin. We're going to still be using that. And then also alcohol inks. And interestingly enough, I used a container, and it took the outline of the container. So it almost looks like it's machine made, but it's not. It's just the outline of the container that I had my bowl draped over. So this is what we're going to be working with today. A little bit different shape than this, but you can get the idea of what we're going to be doing. To get started, I am just using a silicone form. It's a little over 11 inches. It's probably supposed to be 12, but you know, sometimes you get these generic forms and they don't quite measure correctly. And inside it, I have just put plastic wrap. This is actually the plastic that came on the form. So you can use cling wrap or whatever if you do not have this, but this actually works pretty well. So I'm going to reuse the plastic that came around the silicone mold. If you don't have a silicone mold, that's fine too. You can just use plastic wrap and put your resin in that, but you will need resin for this one. To get started, I'm going to mix up my resin. Today I am using a 1-to-1 resin, and I am using Stone Coat resin for countertops, but there are a lot of great resins out there that you can use for this that probably look better than the countertop resin. I am going to need to mix my resin, and I'm going to need to put on a respirator for that. As always, please take precautions when you are using resins just to protect your lungs and your health. So I'm going to quickly mix that up, and we'll meet back here to go over what I'm going to do next. I'm just mixing in some glitter. It's so pretty. It is a holographic glitter. It is by Resin. It is an epoxy glitter. Very fine glitter. I shouldn't say it's just epoxy. It's for anything you want to put it into, but it is a very fine holographic glitter. If you've never seen it, I'll put it in the links below. So if you want some, you can get it. It's pretty cool, actually. I think when I did my last bowl, the first thing my husband said was, "Oh, look at the pretty glitter." And I'm like, okay. I love the holographic glitter. Okay. Got quite a few bubbles, but it's interesting because you won't see those with all the glitter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a skin in the middle. Now this one I am going to be just putting a very small skin because I'm going to have it hopefully in the shape of a vase. So my skin is going to be very small. I'm going to have a very small sort of bottom piece to this. You see my other bowl, the entire thing is a skin. If you're interested in me talking about how to make this type of bowl, please leave that down in the comments below. But for this one, I am just going to be using a small skin, and this is how I made it. For this small intricate skin, I am actually using a die cut machine. You can really use any design you want. And so I'm going for a hexagonal star pattern. And I have a very shiny skin, so my finished product is very shiny. Here is the little skin that I made. It's going to go right in the middle here. So you can kind of see there are lots of ways you could use this. If I were going to make a bowl, and I may do one, you could do a whole pattern of these, but you would have to attach them so they don't float away. So some things to think about when you're working with skins. I'm going to put this over here, and I'm going to go ahead and put a layer of resin into the bottom of this. And then I'm going to put my skin in. doesn't have to be a super thick coating, but it does need to coat and not have any holes in it. You can see where I have wrinkles, and if you have any wrinkles, you will see those in the final product, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depends what look you're going for. Once you have an even coat, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to torch this, being careful of my plastic. I do not want to melt my plastic. And I have to say, the glitter is going to be very forgiving when it comes to bubbles. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my skin in, and I am using a very small skin for this one. And I have to think about, when I put my skin on, what do I want to be the bottom and what do I want to be the top? So if I take this out and I drape it over it, this is actually going to be showing. So I'm going to put this upside down into my resin. I'm going to take a skewer and I am just going to move that over a little bit more in the center. So the key is going to keep your skins where you want them. And then I'm just going to pour more resin over the top. Making sure that I have some over my design. And I'm just going to get all of that resin out. It's not going to be a super thick piece. Okay. And you can see that it's drifting, so if you're not on a level surface, that is an issue. And actually, I forgot to measure level on this. It's kind of like a pour painting. You need to be on a level surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get something to put this on that I can level it. It's now on the turntable. This is where I do my bloom painting. So what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to have to move this back. The only reason I didn't put this in first is because I need the whole thing to be fluid. So I can't just put my skin in, let it dry or cure, and then come back and pour another layer over the top and keep it there. If I do that, I will not have the fluidity I need to do the drip bowl or the drip style bowl. Not with this resin. I'm sure there are resins that I can do that with, that have a quicker dry time, that if I worked really quickly, I probably could figure something out. That's not what I've got, so I've got to work with what I have. Let me turn this off so you can see that it is in there. I have so many lights on, it's really reflecting off of all of the plastic and the glitter here. So there you go, I've got the acrylic skin in, and now I'm going to be using my alcohol inks. So I've got some generic alcohol inks here, and since my skin is purples and blues, I'm going to be using some purples and blues. We have purple, sapphire blue, we have just blue, and then a navy blue, and then I threw some gold over here just in case. I doubt I'll use it, but I do have some. These are Sigwan. They're available on Amazon, or at least they were. If they still are, we'll put a link below. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go around the edges with my ink. You know, you really don't have to do this, but you know what? I love color, and I don't get to use my alcohol inks too much anymore. I'm usually pour painting. So what I'm going to do is take my sapphire blue, and I'm going to put dots around the edges or make a mess. This doesn't have to be exact. When you're doing an art piece, you can do it any way you want to. You don't have to make it completely exact. When you're doing an art piece, there are no rules. You can do it the way you want to do it, and that's the great thing about it. Give that a second to spread. Then I'm going to take my navy blue and I'm going to drop that in between. There might not be a lot of contrast. It may look exactly the same. I don't know if you've noticed this, but sometimes when you get these generic paints or pigments, you get multiple colors that are really exactly the same. They just have a different name on them. Maybe there's a little bit of difference, but it's not huge. I've got a little gap over here. It's all going to be good. Let's see. I'm now going to take my purple. You know what? First I'm going to take my just blue. I'm just curious what color blue is. And I am just going to go around again. As I said, there are no rules for this. I'm just going to make sure that they are joined together. And the cool thing about the alcohol ink is it will pop a lot of your bubbles. Now I'm going to take my purple. And this is cute in and of itself. But now I'm going to take my purple, and I've already dropped some, so I'm going to go with it. My cat's trying to get in here. Got some stray drops in there, but that's okay. Oh, pretty. Now, since there are no rules to this, I'm just going to take my pointing tool and I am going to extend some things. You don't have to do this. You can do whatever you want. Okay. And what I'm going to do now again, it feels like I'm pour painting. What I'm going to do now is do more of this. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing, trying to keep the lights out of the way. I am going to put this on a flat surface and let it dry for a few hours, and I'll come back and let you know how long exactly it took. I'm gonna have to keep testing it to see how long it takes for it to cure enough that it is still malleable, but not so hard that I can't do anything with it. So I will be back in a few. Okay, it's been about 5 hours since the resin was left to dry, and I'm afraid if I leave it much longer it's going to have set up too much. So I'm going to remove it from the mold and we are going to place it over this. Okay, so this is just a plastic vase and I'm using this as my form. It's just got some spray adhesive and some golden fiber paste up in there. So it will hopefully sit even. At least I'm hoping it will. And what I'm going to do is take this out of the mold. It comes out pretty easy, and you can see that it's still pretty flexible. Okay, so I'm going to put this here, and since it's flexible, hopefully I'm going to put the middle, which should be where I have my skin, and I'm going to let it drape. And as you can see, it's almost to the point that it is getting too hard to handle. And we're going to let that drape. And hopefully not let it get stuck. This is the hard part. What I'm going to do is put something underneath to keep this up a little bit, in theory. So what I've ended up doing is just putting some bracers underneath. I know I could put this on a bowl, but I really want to have a very thin bottom here so I can highlight my skin. So in that case, I've just put some paper towel tubes and some little bathroom cups. These are plastic underneath, and that's just going to keep it up a little bit. I'm not sure my skin is exactly center, but since this is an art vase, it's all going to be good. I'm actually going to adjust this one. The good thing about this is if you need to adjust it, you can. I'm going to open that one up just a little bit more. And I might need to also open this one up a little bit more. Sometimes you have to jerry-rig some things to get the look that you want. So hopefully this is going to work. And we're just going to let this sit overnight and see where we are in the morning, because it will not be dry tonight. So I am back. Everything stayed in place overnight, so we're ready to remove the dish. It's been about 12 hours. And I'm going to just move it off. I'm going to move this out of the way, this lovely contraption. And we're going to take the plastic off. Save that plastic for later. We have some little pieces, but oh, interesting. Here it is. It's still a little bit malleable, but I'm going to go ahead and click some of this off. You can sand the edges, but right now I'm just going to get any little pieces off that have come off of the plastic. Okay, I am really loving this. This is on a black background. I'm going to show it on several colors of backgrounds because it changes colors depending on what you put it on. So here it is on the black background, and now here it is on the light blue background. So really what it more truly looks like. It's very pretty. It looks like a flower. Yay, and there is my skin in the middle. Very subtle, but it adds so much to it. Gives it that center flower kind of look. It's very wispy and very glittery with the holographic glitter. I still need to do the edges on the ball, but I'm really loving it. And here it is on a multicolored board painting. I love it. And here it is outside. If you'd like to see more of this type of resin work, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye now.